Jimmy was not a rapper then.
Right.
He was your man, like on the side, like in the side, just he was not a rapper at all.
Right.
So when Ballin' took place, and I'm looking and I'm going, oh, he having a moment. That's the Lloyd Banks. It's Lloyd Banks thing.
50 Cent just zeroed in on Jim Jones, and things are spiraling fast. Jim sparked the fire by taking slick shots at Nas during Fat Joe and Jadakiss' podcast, bragging he's done more for the culture and calling himself the better rapper. That's wild talk coming from anyone, let alone Jim. 50 wasted no time clapping back, saying, I just saw the Breakfast Club, Jimmy out here popping off, talking that Gucci boo talk. Straight clowning the whole We Gucci routine like it's a joke. And honestly, it's crazy behavior from a dude who used to look at Nas like a legend. So what flipped the switch? Why is Jim suddenly trying to rewrite history like his top dog? 50 thinks it's deeper, that Jay-Z's a puppet master in the shadows, moving the pieces while pretending he's got nothing to do with it. Because 50's not buying the
He wanted that. He was watching them be that, like Mace be that and Cam be that, and looked at, and it was finally, he had one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked, and I knew, I just took the shot, murder, to see, because I wasn't sure he was going to go for it. But I was like, we like Jimmy better than you anyway, Cam. Then you got to watch and see how he responds. And then when you see, he like, oh, he really like that. Give me this, give me Jimmy. Yeah, tell him we want you at the show, Jimmy. Yo, but that was one of those things I just threw it out and see what. And then when he bit to it, because it was like he was having a moment that not sure that was going to ever happen again at that point. And then he's going, for them, they had records that where, look, I always said it's to certain artists, I go, damn, when is he going to have his moment? Like, Fat.
Random act. He's calling it for what it is. Jim Jones playing errand boy for Hov. And honestly, the timeline's sketchy as hell. 4 years. Jim was out here clowning Nas and Hav, dragging their names any chance he got. Interviews, podcasts, you name it. Then suddenly, he's out here calling Jay-Z his big bro like they've been locked in since day one. That switch-up screams agenda. So let's spin it back to where the chaos first kicked off. Jim sat down with Fat Joe and Jadakiss, just chopping it up about recent hits. That's when Joe mentioned the wild comparisons flooding online. Gen Z saying Jim's done more for hip-hop than...
Recently saw a clip on Instagram where a young kid was comparing you to Nas and saying that you got big hits. Yo, he looked to you. He learned how to wear the BB Simon belt from you. He got his swag. Like, how crazy is that? Because in my era, you know what I'm saying? Nas is like a god.
In my era too. I mean,
so to be compared,
let me
that young kid out.
Let me.
He was young, and we loved that he loved Jim Jones. I want you to break this down.
Let's break this down. I admired Nas, but remember Nas' first record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in 11th grade.
Nas. That was Jim's moment to stay solid, show some respect. But nah, he laughed and said, these new kids don't even know Nas. Then doubled down, flexing like his influence stretches further. Like, bro, be for real. What? Nah, let's not get it twisted. Dipset had their run, no doubt. They defined a whole era in hip-hop. But the wild part? Jim didn't even bring them up while bragging about his so-called legacy. He talked like he single-handedly put Harlem on the map. You could literally see Jadakiss's expression shift, like he just witnessed the most delusional statement of the year. Then Jim tried to backpedal, saying Nas was his idol growing up, inspired by his lyrics, his message, his vibe. But seconds later, he flipped it again, claiming once he entered the game, idols became rivals. He hit that line. I developed my own style, a lane these kids gravitate toward the same way I gravitated toward Nas. Then he doubled down, saying, it's 2025, man. These 22-year-olds don't even know Nas. Bro, that's not the flex you think it is. You didn't have to say a word. Silence would have been safer. Everyone already knows Nas is a certified legend. Meanwhile, Jim didn't even start earning real respect until Bowlin dropped. The same dude who was starstruck meeting Nas last year is suddenly claiming he's a better artist? That's not confidence. That's ego running wild. Jadakiss kept it cool, but his face told the story. Pure disbelief. And let's be real, every major figure in hip-hop saw that clip. But Jim, he wasn't finished embarrassing himself. He went even harder, saying he could out-rap Nas. Better bars, sharper flow, more impact, more relevance. The whole package. Like he truly believes is toe-to-toe with one of the greatest lyrics.
The comparisons and then Nick be trying to act funny when it comes. No, I've been spanking a lot of this. I'm talking about the industry. I've been putting on. So let's not get into that where we get into numbers and I gotta show you the statistics of what I've done. You heard to what other people was done. You heard them. You wanna go to the Billboard entries, pull up Nas Billboard entries, and pull up my Billboard entries.
Listen, we can't compare the two. What I'm trying to tell you is
I wanna go there.
Hold on.
I wanna go down the line now, because now we going down the line. He's a rapper and I'm a rapper.
Listen,
let's go statistically.
It feels great.
No, but I wanna go statistically, because when people be like,
I feel the same way. We all feel the same way.
And forget about the numbers. My numbers back up.
Let me step up to the fore.
Versus to ever bless a MIC. Then Jim really crossed the line when he said, I'm more relevant now than Nas has ever been. That's not confidence. That's straight chaos disguised as bravado. To justify it, he started flashing stats like a lawyer on trial. Billboard placements, Spotify streams, viral moments, chart runs, as if numbers could rewrite legacy. But the internet wasn't buying that narrative for a second. Nas fans came swinging, armed with facts, pulling receipts faster than a Wi-Fi refresh. Comments flooded. Timelines blew up, and Jim got torched for coming at a man who's been shaping hip-hop since before he even had a contract. Let's be real for a second. Jim, lyrically, you're not in Nas's league. Not even close. This ain't about outfits, ice, or club hooks. This is about penmanship, storytelling, and pure artistry. The fans nailed it. You might have brought swagger, but Nas built empires with words. While you were chasing hits, he was crafting legacies. And now, the same guy who claims Bowlin made him immortal wants to rewrite hip-hop history? Nah, that's not evolution. That's delusion dressed up as confidence. And let's not act like this feud came out of thin air. The bad blood's been bubbling since the early 2000s. Back when Nas roasted Dipset and even trashed Cam'ron's Come Home With Me album, sparking that Harlem versus Queens rivalry. Cam clapped back over the Hate Me Now beat, and suddenly the culture was split. Pride was on the line. But here's where it gets crazy. Back then,
like that.
I've heard you say that.
Since the barbecue and things like that, like he really put the whole dope boy rap, crack hustler, get fresh rap into perspective before anybody else. Before I heard Jay do it, before I heard anybody else, like he changed the cadence of rap into a whole different steam. Like he's the one that broke the camel's back when it came to artists like, to me, when it came to artists like Big Daddy Kane and all these artists that came right before him. Like after Nas came with that, they started to fade out, and then Jay, Fat Joe, like all of these rappers that are spitting about the life that we was really starting to live right now and how it was changing. Like this is, you know what I mean? So that's how I felt about that whole.
Jim was also beefing with Jay-Z. So how in the world did he go from dissing Hov to allegedly working under him? Jay used to clown Jim in public, and things got ugly fast. The real fallout came when Jay refused to make Cam'ron the vice president of Roc-A-Fella. That decision lit the match that sparked a Harlem versus Hov war. Jim stood 10 toes down for Cam, and that loyalty turned into one of the rawest rivalries New York ever saw. But now, fast forward to 2025, and suddenly Jim's out here praising Jay-Z while throwing shade at Nas. The same two legends have been beefing with for decades. The switch-up is crazy. He's out here shouting, check my stats, check my Billboard history, like the numbers back him up. But when you actually look, the math don't lie. Jim's resume reads 9 Billboard 200 entries, 3 top 10s, and not a single number one. Meanwhile, Nas is sitting on 27 entries, 16 top 10s, and 6 number one albums. That's not competition, that's domination. Jim keeps repeating that he's still rapping at a high level in 2025, daring Nas to step in the booth. And yeah, sure, he's been consistent lately, but comparing momentum to legacy, that's not ambition, that's denial. Nas isn't chasing numbers anymore. He's the benchmark everyone else measures against. And here's the twist. None of this feels accidental. This flip looks calculated. Jim and Cam always felt Rockefeller use Harlem's energy, milk their style, and then toss them when it suited the brand. Let's not forget, Dame Dash brought Dipset into the Rock, not Jay. But once Jay took over, they swore he froze him out like he wanted to dim Harlem's shine. Jim's been vocal about it for years, calling Jay soft, out of touch, and disconnected from the streets. And this wasn't just talk for the cameras. Jim made sure that beef spilled out of the booth and into the real world. On December 22nd, 2008, Jim Jones got into a full-blown brawl inside a Louis Vuitton store in Manhattan. And the man he fought just...
Jim Jones went on Fat Joe and Jadakiss's... Oh, look, a topic in a topic. Yeah. He went on Fat Joe and Jadakiss's podcast and had a lot to say about some dude on the internet that said Jim Jones is better than Nas and has more Billboard hits.
As a young kid, I think I believe he was like 23 or something, 22, 23. And he was saying that for his generation, his era, they don't look at Nas. And a lot of people took offense to that. I personally did not take offense just because of the kid's age, of the generation.
It's like a sports conversation. Like the numbers are the numbers. But in New York City, with rappers, we don't necessarily go by that.
Yes, Travis Scott is the bigger act, more hits, more numbers, more. But to the rappers, don't nobody give a about what Travis Scott
happened to be one of Jay-Z's close friends and business partners. That wasn't random. That was personal. Jim later pled guilty to misdemeanor assault, and that fight proved his beef with Hov went way beyond music. Industry folks brushed it off as typical rap drama, but insiders knew there was real tension brewing. To many, Jim wasn't a threat, just a loudest guy on the sidelines yelling at Jordan, desperate to be seen. But here's where the script flips. After all that smoke, all that trash talk, Jim folded. Straight up bent the knee to the same man he'd spent years dissing. The same dude he once called soft suddenly became his savior. That's why the streets don't trust him, because loyalty? Jim treats it like it's optional. When the tables turn, he's quick to switch seats. And that's exactly why 50 Cent never respected him. In 50's eyes, Jim's that type who talks tough till the pressure hits, then runs to whoever's got the power. See, this ain't new. 50's got history with Jim. Back in the G-Unit versus Dipset era, Jim shocked everyone when he popped up at a G-Unit event after 50 invited him. People thought it was a boss move, but 50 was playing chess, not charity. He brought Jim out not to sign him, but to expose him, to prove he'd do anything for clout, even cross his own crew. No contract, no deal, just public embarrassment. That's the day 50 branded him as someone with no code, no backbone, no loyalty. Fast forward, 50 and Jay-Z been locked in a silent Cold War for years. So when Jim came crawling to Rock Nation begging for a deal, that was it. The line was drawn. The minute that contract dropped, 50 could smell the politics. He even claimed Jay iced him out to the NFL ad campaign, saying they still had bad blood. Jay allegedly told NOIE the white boy wouldn't do the show without 50, meaning Eminem demanded 50's inclusion. That's when 50 turned up the heat, mocking Jay's style, his silence, even calling him a poser modeling himself after a gay painter. And just like clockwork, as that tension reignited, boom, Jim starts taking slick shots at Nas again. Coincidence? 50 doesn't think so, not for a second. He's convinced Jay's using Jim as a pawn in his ongoing chess game with Nas. Classic Jay-Z moves. Play calm, move quiet, and let someone else swing. And 50 saw right through it. The second he caught wind of Jim's new loyalty, he hit Instagram doing what he does best, clowning him for the whole world to see. Memes, captions, jabs, all fire. 50 called Jim the industry's favorite puppet, saying Jay's got him doing the dirty work is too rich to touch himself. And 50 wasn't just trolling this time. He was dead serious. He reminded everybody that Jay's been running the same playbook for decades, using other people to do his dirty work while he stays spotless in public. According to 50, this Nas situation is just another episode in Jay's long game of manipulation. He said it flat out. Jim's doing Jay's bidding while pretending he's the one making moves. Brutal. The internet ran with it instantly. Fans dug up old clips of Jim praising Nas, calling him one of the greatest ever, even crediting him for inspiring his grind. Those interviews went viral overnight. Suddenly, people were asking, so which Jim is this? The Nas fan or the Nas hater? Just like that, the whole image fell apart. Memes flooded timelines, clowning Jim for switching up like a politician mid-election. Meanwhile, Nas stayed cool. No posts, no subs, no responses. Man's too busy dropping timeless bars, stacking Grammys, and living legend status while Jim's out here chasing clout crumbs. And 50? He's loving every second. Every few days, he drops another jab, sometimes slick, sometimes blunt, but always deadly. He even said, Jim's the type to diss a legend just to get his boss's attention. Cold. Then things got darker. Word started spreading that Roc Nation's PR team might have actually pushed Jim to stir the pot with Nas, a calculated PR stunt for attention. Because controversy equals clicks, streams, and headlines. And Jay? He's the architect of silent power plays. If 50's right, Jim's just a pawn in Jay's chess match, one that's replaceable. But being 50, he didn't stop at words. He started leaking behind-the-scenes stories. Times Jim begged for features, begged for meetings, only to get curbed by the same people he idolized. Piece by piece, he's tearing down that street boss image, showing the insecurity behind the designer fits. What started as rap beef has now turned into a war for pride, relevance, and legacy. Jim's fighting to prove he belongs among legends, but every move he makes just gives 50 more ammo. And at this point, it's bigger than music. It's survival in an industry that never really crowned him in the first place. 50 said it best, and it still hits like gospel. A real boss keeps his hands clean, even when he does doubt. That's how this game really moves. Jay-Z's mastered that code better than anyone. On the surface, he's calm, collected, untouchable, the billion-dollar mogul. But behind that smile, every move's a calculated checkmate. From borrowing Biggie's blueprint to freezing out his own Rockefeller brothers, Jay learned early that real power doesn't scream, it whispers. He's not playing the game. He is the game. Look at the track record. He iced out Dame Dash, kept Cameron from shining too bright, and now he's got Jim Jones reigniting old beef with Nas while he sits back clean as ever. That's textbook of, let others get dirty while he walks away spotless with the bag. It's ruthless, but it's genius. And that's exactly why 50 doesn't rock with either of them. Loyalty is his only currency, and Jay or Jim. They don't live by that code. That's why 50 rides for Eminem the way he does. M's been solid since day one. No politics, no switching sides. When rumors spread that Jay tried to block 50 from performing at the Super Bowl, it was Eminem who said, if 50 ain't performing, I'm not performing either. That's loyalty, something money can't buy. That's a line between real and fake in this industry. Because fame fades, streams dry up, and trends die out. But respect? That's forever. Jim might be making headlines right now, but Nas built the foundation he's standing on. You can't troll your way into greatness. That's earned through time, consistency, and legacy. So now it's on you. Who you rocking with? Team 50, Team Nas, or you really think Jim's standing on business? Hit that like button, drop your thought below, and don't forget to subscribe, because this story, it's just getting started.